Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, and yes, we are back with another One Leeds video. Now today is a specific video that I wanted to do on a certain manager. There's a lot of people talking about this manager, and I just wanted to give my opinion on the matter. But before we start the video, everybody, we had 6 new patrons sign up to the account last night, which was fantastic. We did a debrief extra on there, which is just a bonus extended version of the debrief that we put on every single Monday. We did the fan view yesterday as well. Apologies for the technical issues at the start, but it was really great. It was fantastic to get everybody on, and it just went down extremely well. So it's 12,000 views in 24 hours. Thank you so much for that. It went up for over an hour as well. So yeah, those views are exceptional. So thank you so much. The discussion was vibrant and it was thought-provoking, really thought-provoking. And that's why I'm doing this video today, because of you guys, because your comments have made me think a little bit about certain things, and I just want to get a few things off my chest. But if you do want to sign up to the Patreon account, the link is in the description below. I'm sure there are loads of people who can evidence to you that it is well worth it. So make sure you do that as well. BetMate will have an offer as well this weekend for the Liverpool game, so it's your chance to win a lot of money. So listen, we're going to get onto the main topic. We're going to stop waffling. Leeds United are in a perilous position at the minute. We know that. But I think it's definitely key to talk about this, because I think it's going to happen. I don't like speaking about the next manager in charge, and I mentioned this last night on the debrief that I'm not a massive fan of talking about the next manager, even when I thought Marcelo Bielsa should have left at the point in sort of mid-November. I wasn't talking about that next managerial appointment. I was just trying to figure out how on earth Leeds are going to get better, but it feels like right now we're at a stage where it will not get better until there is a managerial change. I don't understand what Leeds United are doing. I don't understand the plan. The reaction for me should have been proactive and reactive simultaneously. I know those two don't go hand in hand, but they should have done here. He should be gone already. He's not. Now, my thought process is that they're going to give it till the Liverpool game. This is what I'm hoping. Naturally, the mindset would tell you that we're going to get smacked by Liverpool, especially after they've just lost the game. And that's when they're going to sack him. I don't really understand why they would do it on that. The only positive way I can think of this board doing that, the reason they are doing that, is because maybe it gives them a week to get another manager ready and prepped. That would be a positive mindset, a positive way of thinking about it. But do I trust this board? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When it comes to managerial appointments in the past 5-6 years, they've got one right out of 4. Might be even 5, but I believe it's 4. Got one right, which is an absolutely shocking record, and something that definitely should be analysed. Rad Razani said that if there was going to be continuous problems when it came to recruitment, that he would analyse the recruitment team. We haven't seen any of that. You know, we've seen no real obvious talks when it comes to Leeds United's recruitment. And all being said and done, I think the recruitment's been half decent this summer. But it's just not been enough. There has been a backlog of errors, a backlog of negligence, which has stretched to 9 transfer windows when it's come to Leeds bringing a central midfielder. It's come to wrong profiles being signed. Rodrigo was never going to fit in a Marcelo Bielsa system. He was trying to play him as an 8, never worked. Tried to play him as a 10, never worked. Tried to play him as a 9, in my opinion, still hasn't worked. Dan James, 30 million quid. Why? Why on earth have we done that? A lot of the under-21s are not getting a shot at the minute because they're the wrong profile for a Jesse Marsh system. Willie Gnonto, Sonny Perkins. You know, what are we doing with Sam Greenwood? What is his position? And it seems like a lot of these players are brought in for the resale value, not to actually fit the profile of team, not to fit the identity, not to fit the starting 11 for the future. It is for a sell-on reason. You look at, even, as I've just mentioned, Joe Gelhardt, Willie Gnonto, Sonny Perkins, they're shadow strikers. Inverted forwards. They're not strikers in this system. They're not. The style of play hampers those strikers. You can see by the diminutive statures as well. They don't fit the profile. They don't fit the traditional Red Bull style. So why have we brought them in? It's for real resale value. And I understand exactly why they've done it, in terms of Leeds have to bring money in to be able to thrive. We've done all right this year, everyone. We're in the green. Net spend of 11 million. We brought players in But we also sold the best player the club have seen since Harry Kewell. And have we fully replaced him yet? The evidence suggests no. So, a lot of problems when it comes to board level. A lot of problems when it comes to recruitment, consequently. And I'm just a little bit downtrodden with what the rumours are at the minute. I actually can't believe, I don't believe, I'm hoping that they're looking at a new manager, but I'm almost like, I bet they're not. I bet they're not. Because they've thrown so much into Jesse Marsch, they don't have the foresight to see what everybody else sees. Everybody else sees, not just Leeds fans, everybody, that this is going one way. But the board don't want to see it. They've got the blinkers on. They're going to leave it too late. They left it too late with Bielsa, in my opinion. It got to a stage where it was bad for Bielsa, it was bad for Leeds United, and it was even bad for Marsch. He didn't want to come in after 12 games, but that's Leeds United. People forget about that. People forget that Jesse Marsch had a conversation with Victor and said, I don't want to come in at this moment. I'd rather come in the new season. That's how embarrassingly disorganised it is. So that's not Leeds being proactive in that moment, even though they saw the Marcelo Bielsa project toward the end going down the pan. You know, another question on the board as well. I thought with Bielsa, at the time, it was going down the pan. I thought there was, my point at the time was there was a clear confidence issue with players like Rafinha, who looked frustrated, Phillips, who looked frustrated, Ayling, who looked frustrated, Dallas, and then afterwards you're hearing Dallas, you're hearing Ayling talking about how the pressure was getting to them. Maybe, do you remember I'm paraphrasing now, but the interviews afterwards, they were sort of circling around the fact that murder ball had caused injuries. They didn't say it exactly, some of these senior players, but they were saying, yeah, the injuries were hampering us, it was problematic, it was affecting us. You know, we were tired, low on confidence, all this sort of stuff, all these little buzzwords that they were throwing in. So that turns you away and makes you think, well, Bielsa's the problem here then. The board are definitely to blame, but they've eventually got rid of him and we've stayed up, so okay. Then you dig a little bit and you think to yourself, Bielsa never came out and said anything derogatory. They knew that. They knew in a certain way they could work around that. You had Angus Kinnear coming out and essentially saying that Marcelo was working them too hard. He wasn't getting the results, obviously. We're conceding too many goals. And they come out and say that. And you obviously had Radrizzani doing the interview afterwards. We've still heard nothing from Bielsa. And they knew that. They knew he would never come out and say anything. So the narrative is from one side and one side only. I'd be so fascinated one day to hear the Bielsa side of it. So the confidence factor under the Marcelo Bielsa regime was something that I was worried about, and I thought he would have taken us down. I do believe that. But why are we talking about Marcelo Bielsa? That's another question. Well, we're talking about Marcelo Bielsa because I believe he got 7 points out of 24. Jesse Marsch is currently on 2 points out of 24 with an easier set of fixtures. That was when Bielsa left, by the way, and he had all those turgid fixtures. You know, Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal included. But we shouldn't be talking about Bielsa right now. He should be in our history. We should be talking about him in a positive light and still have pictures on the wall and still have all the murals around Leeds in that light. But we shouldn't be talking about Bielsa in comparison to Jesse Marsch because this was supposed to be evolution. This was supposed to be development. We've spent over 250 million in 3 years since being in the Premier League. We weren't here, remember, to make up numbers. Leeds United were never that sort of club. We're a massive club. And you'll get rival fans coming on here saying you can't be saying that, you can't have that arrogance. But you can have that arrogance because you're a big club. It is what it is. It's football. So we can have that arrogance. The problem is we're a big club with a small club mentality. And I'm going to get onto my main point here. We're a massive club with a small club mentality. All that money spent. Shockingly bad recruitment with all that money spent. And you now look at the club and maybe Radrizzani's taking them as far as he can go. But then you look at Aston Villa in the Midlands. We were battling it out with Aston Villa about 4 years ago. That fantastic game at Ellen Road where it was to and fro, 3-2 wins at Villa Park. And we've battled it out, and we're a very similar club to Aston Villa. I've got a lot of Villa fans in my family. Very similar club. Now, Leeds United in the first season in the Premier League, it was incredible. We're getting battered by the top teams, but the football was mesmerising, and we were also dishing out batterings. We had the 6th highest shirt sales in the Premier League. In that first season, we had 25 to 28,000 people on a season ticket waiting list. The globalisation of Leeds was massive. It was growing. It is growing still. At that point, even when Bielsa was sacked, I was expecting Leeds United to get better, to develop, to get another top coach in. Now, it's not worked with Jesse Marsch. But what's worrying me is after all of these years, we have now got to a situation where we are talking about, I mean, it's on the rumour mill. I don't think, I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but we're talking about Sean Dyche. Now, 3 years ago, if I turned around with all respect to Sean Dyche and said to you guys, we have to stay in the Premier League again. We've had Marcelo Bielsa, we've finished 9th. We didn't develop in the year after at all. We've not developed this year. And we're fighting relegation again, and we're going to get Sean Dyche, and we need to sturdy it up at the back and be defensively resolute. You'd have all turned around and started pissing yourself laughing. Sean Dyche at Leeds. And we can be like that because we're Leeds United. We're a big club. And the reason I mention Aston Villa is because Aston Villa have rich owners. But they act like a big club. I reckon there was 10 clubs in for Emi Buendia. Villa came in, bullied everyone. We're getting Buendia. There's 40 million. Phil Coutinho, they wanted him. Other clubs in for him. Villa, AC Milan, other clubs. Inter apparently were in for him as well. Nah, we're getting him there. Where Aston Villa were a bigger club. Ollie Watkins, several, including us, apparently interested. Now we'll have him. Steven Gerrard at Rangers doing exceptionally well. Now we'll have him. And we'll get his assistant manager, Beale, who's one of the renowned best assistant managers in the country, in Europe. We'll have him as well, and we're bringing all of Gerrard's staff. Yeah, it didn't work, but then what have they done? They've gone, Unai Emery, okay, we'll take him as well. A massively successful manager, and they've gone out and bought him out of his contract at Villarreal. So 4 years ago, we were battling with Aston Villa, two of the biggest clubs, two big clubs in England. You know, we're massive clubs. Everybody knows we are such huge clubs in the dynasty of English football. They've got Unai Emery. We're looking, allegedly, and fans will be happy with Sean Dyche. That was Villa's 4th, 5th option, and I can tell you that for a fact. That is something I know. That was a backup option. So how have we gone from that to where we are now? It's negligence, as we all know. But the expectation of the fan, the regular Leeds fan now, has been completely quelled and dampened by that negligence coming from the board. The shocking recruitment. The sacking of a legend which was done in a way which none of us could believe. The backing of a manager who's done. The fact that they are so reliant on players that have been here for such a long period of time, and the reason they're reliant on them is because they don't want to dip the hand in the pocket, because these players have to work for Leeds because we've spent so much money. How can other clubs like Brighton, Brentford get it so well oiled and so right with a Moneyball approach, bringing in the right people? But Leeds United, one of the cornerstones of English football as a club, can't. Why can't we? Why can't we attract the same sort of owners as Aston Villa? Why can't we have that? We're a one-city club. We are teams love the day out against Leeds United because we're a massive club. They can come there, and nowadays they can just win. It's easy, but they love the day out. We're shown on Sky literally every week. Some of the YouTube numbers for every single Leeds United content creator are through the roof in comparison to clubs our size. Shirt sales again this season still absolutely mesmeric when it comes to where Leeds are. Still selling out every single week, even though we're absolutely crap. Commercialisation, globalisation, all still performing at an extremely high level, top 8 at least. Then you got the owner coming out and saying that if we survived a relegation battle, we'd be in what did he say, a top 6, top 8 battle? He said it's impossible to be in a relegation battle as well. And we're talking about Sean Dyche. This is no disrespect to Sean Dyche. He did all right. You know, he got Burnley into Europe. But on that, you know, George Burley, when he was at Ipswich, 2001, led him to fifth in the Premier League. Unbelievable feat. Got them to Europe. Did Burley then go to a top English club? No. Because people knew there was a ceiling there. He was probably going to be battling it out, and consequently he did and get sacked at the lower ebb of the Premier League. Exactly the same with Steve Coppell at Reading. Exactly the same when you look at someone like Claudio Ranieri, who won the league with Leicester and then later on got sacked by Watford when they were in a relegation battle. Just because Sean Dyche got Europe for Burnley however many years ago doesn't mean that's going to be the right appointment for Leeds United. And it's not the right appointment. The transition would be ridiculous again. It would not make sense. This isn't in the plan. So you've gone from Marcelo Bielsa, a certain expansive, fluid, overlapping, exposed at the back, 100% style of football, to Jesse Marsch, compact, narrow, attacking, no real reliance on defending, even though he says there is a reliance on defending, to a 4-4-2 manager who the profiles of a lot of players in our squad aren't going to fit whatsoever. And we're going to be reliant on a defensive display most weeks when we can't defend anyway because we haven't got the players, we haven't got the profile to be able to do that, aside from Pascal Strauch, sorry, and maybe Robin Koch in there. That's it. You know, that Burnley side was rugged and made for defensive displays. Going from Burnley to Leeds United, whatever you say, is a massive jump. A massive jump. Hence why a club like Aston Villa had him as reserve choice. Because that step up is massive. We've seen it at Leeds United, even with previous owners before. Brian McDermott, Neil Warnock. That step up to Leeds United is something different. So all people who are turning around saying Sean Dyche in, why? He came out and said the owners didn't back him, quite right. But for me, that's a problem in itself. Because he's going to come into Leeds United and they're not bothered about investing again. They've seen that Sean Dyche has done it before where he's not really haggled the owners that much. He stayed in the job. He's not left for 10 years. They've not given him that much money. So for me, the Leeds board would exploit that again. Gets in, keep us up every single year. Is this what we're here for? This is what we're here. We're here to make up the numbers, which we all said we weren't. We were never here to make up the numbers because we're Leeds United. You got your Evertons, you got your Newcastle, you got your Aston Villa. I'd put Leeds on that level. Easy. In terms of club stature, we are a big club that acts like a small club. No other Premier League side is like Leeds United when you look at the level of the club in compared to how we operate. It's a joke. We should not be looking at managers like that for me. We should be looking at top European pedigree managers where we go out and we buy them out of the club. That's what you're doing. We're Leeds United. We're not going to be bullied anymore because we get bullied in transfers. That happens. That's happened for years now. We're Leeds United, as Aston Villa have done. Bang, there you go. 49ers, what's going on with them? We hear nothing. Okay, if you're not going to invest, can we try track someone else to this one club in one city, which is gigantic? The potential, it's a gold mine. It's an absolute gold mine for an owner. So what the hell is going on behind the scenes? Because they should have taken us over when it was rosy. They still didn't. And there's still no noises from them. So why can't we do what Aston Villa have done and attract big owners like that, attract big managers, attract big staff, attract big players? Why? Why are we all little Leeds United? Why is that us? Fighting relegation. Is this going to be us for the next 5 years? Because I thought there'd be progression now in terms of players, in terms of management, in terms of style on the pitch. When we got rid of Bielsa, it was sad. We were all heartbroken. But in my head, it was because we were improving. We were going to go on something. But the reason we keep comparing to Bielsa is because we haven't improved. We haven't improved at all. And we were better under Bielsa. But that shouldn't be how it is. We should have evolved again. We should be able to defend. We should be able to attack fluidly. We should be able to pick up wins. It's no guarantee in the Premier League, but why can't it be a hope for Leeds? Why can't we be in the Premier League and do things that other clubs can do of our size? The Pochettinos, I completely understand how that's unrealistic. That's unrealistic. We've been talking about Aston Villa. I'm just using them as an example because of Unai Emery, by the way. But your Pochettinos, I understand when he's been at PSG. That's a gargantuan appointment and a target if you were to go and try and get him for Leeds United. But why can't we at least go for some top pedigrees in Europe? We've got Premier League status. We have got players there. Not the greatest at all, but we have got players there. And imagine if you're Sinistera, without any disrespect. Imagine if you're Mark Rocker, Tyler Adams. You come to Leeds United with the promise of X, Y, and Z from this board, and you come in, and without any disrespect, someone like Sean Dyche takes over. I mean, this is all alleged, by the way, everyone. All alleged. And I doubt it'll even happen. But it's the mentality of some fans, in my opinion, because of the board standards and where we are now. We have players from 2017 who are playing under Thomas Christiansen, still getting minutes in the Premier League. We have youngsters who, some of them for me, shouldn't be anywhere near Premier League football. We have profiles of signings, which we've spent millions of pounds on, who don't fit the system and didn't fit two systems in Bielsa and Marsh, but we brought them in anyway because it's Hollywood signings. And we're in a worse position now to what we were last season. We've gone from 9th to a relegation scrap to probably, at the rate we're going, being relegated as bottom of the Premier League unless things change. A lot to talk about there, everyone. But for me, if we are to go for another manager, which I'm hoping we are, it's going to be a top European talent. I've mentioned Knutson several times. He'd be my pick. But I don't know. I really don't know. If it's not Knutson, it has to be someone who we look to as the long term. We look to as a manager who is a top coach, because we're a big club and we should be able to do that. We should be able to act like that. We should be able to bully. Brownie mentioned something last night. He said we should have been able to go to Brighton and get Graham Potter. We should have been able to do that because we're Leeds United and being a big club matters. Look what Manchester United have done to Ajax in the past year. Decimated their squad. They're trying to get the director of football, Van der Sar, took the manager, took their entire nucleus, unfortunately, because they're a bigger club. We are a bigger club than Brighton. But the infrastructure at Leeds, the expectation, the reality is a joke. And it still operates, in my opinion, on a lower ebb championship club. Look at it in terms of structure, in terms of who's there. It's been the same for years, and we all know who we're talking about. Talking about a stadium expansion, that's all gone quiet again. Nothing is clear, nothing is precise. It doesn't look like it's run at a standard where we should be looking at it and thinking, yeah, okay, we're proud of that. It's looking more and more every day that Bielsa was that institution. And I hoped it wasn't that. And I had trust in them that it wasn't that. Bielsa was incredible, moved on. And I thought we'd go for a successor who was going to be able to etch us on. I supported Marsh massively at the start. And I tried to give him evidence. I've been at the pub with my mates in the summer, give him backing. He's got his players in. We've not got enough, but that's the board's fault. But then you get into this season and you're looking at it and you're thinking, it's rotten from the top down. And that's where it has to change. But I don't know, everyone. Let me know in the section below. Would you take Sean Dyche? Would that be your appointment? My thoughts are, listen, I know he'd make us defensively more resolute, but is that what we're going to be as a club? Because he's not going to take us consistently to top 8, which is what the club we were hearing when we were in the Championship if we get up. We were speaking of it when Bielsa had his first season in the Premier League. I thought we were going to be trying to compete for the top 10 all the time. If this is going to be a relegation scrap, a bottom 5 scrap most years, then I guess that's what Dyche is going to be. That's if we stay in the Premier League, by the way. But I don't think on terms of a global scale this would make any sense whatsoever. Marketing, globalisation, commercialisation, Leeds getting bigger and better players to come in. How would this work? The transition, 4-4-2, defensive. Listen, I know he wasn't backed at Burnley, but would he be backed at Leeds? There's your question. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I enjoy doing these talking videos with you guys. I understand it can be quite controversial. But these are my thoughts on the matter, and that's what you're here for. Have a lovely evening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon for bonus content, and I'll see you in a bit.